Hey everybody, Ben here. Today we're going to talk about, is this energy mine? Is this energy someone else's? Or are these projections? First off, thanks for clicking on the video and thank you for showing up for yourself each and every day. So this week I was experiencing an energy that at the time I didn't know if it was mine or someone else's. Obviously the week progressed and it clarified itself. I did take some notes. We're going to talk a little bit on a bit of everything. This energy you may resonate with, but in general, we're going to utilize the situation as an experience to kind of explain more of how these things work and how we can navigate it. So in the very beginning, normally I work alone, and this time I had to work with someone else. And never met the person, but walking up to them, I immediately felt I didn't like them. And I don't know how else to explain it, but I felt very judgy. And I was, at first I'm like, is this me? What's going on? What's going on with me? And it was in a public location, so there was other people as well. And I found myself not liking anyone, very judgy, I guess. Even this sweet old lady. And I'm thinking to myself, this is wrong. Like, what's going on here? And I chalked it up for a projection being sent to me from someone that dislikes me, not anyone in that general area. I was assuming it was being sent to me. Granted, you have haters, people dislike you. We can just talk in general of an energy. If you carry a frequency of truth in a way that they need to show up, you're gonna mirror their wounds. This mask that they're wearing normally doesn't exist if your energy is present. They need to show up. That's going to create a lot of dysfunction. People, in the beginning, they might be drawn to this energy and then they're going to soon learn, I don't like it because you show my weaknesses, or you make me feel insecure. It's culminating transformation, but it's not seen that way. Or they just disgust you. The demons inside can't bear it. So that's going to be a consistent issue. Think of the movie Constantine. It is, negative energy is always trying to bring you down a notch if that's the case. So anyway, I was expecting that it was being sent to me at that time. And I just went on with my work. And working with this individual, I kind of forgot about this pattern. Now, first and foremost, if you have any of these qualities, it's not a knock. Everything that goes on here on this channel is to promote transformation. It is not you're less than or you have a problem. It is to bring it to light. If I am presenting that energy to you, stirring these emotions, it's an opportunity. Hey, okay, well, now I can see it. Now I can do something with it if I want to. If not, we can stay. That's fine. And I might get a little negative on some of the things because it affected me at one point, and that's my space. I can defend that. Anyway, so dealing with this, like I said, I forgot about this type of energy, and it really, I'm going to look at my notes at times because I don't want to miss anything. Oh, I forgot one part. So before, during all this judginess, I started to feel like a pull on my sacral, which is our creativity, our emotions, sexuality. And that's also a reason I chalked it up for it's being sent to me. Someone's trying to alter my emotions, bring me down a notch, and utilize creativity. Tough thing with creativity is, let's look at people that are really popular on YouTube, like in the spiritual community. And people they take their content and their videos and their picture and pretend to be them to make money, or they reach out and say, oh, I got this message for you or whatever, to try to scam you. Why can't they do it themselves? They have to use something else that somebody else created. Its easiest resemblance is in the supermarket or online. Someone had a good idea, they made a good invention, and now everybody rebrands it, but it's copying, and I have a bigger manufacturing plant so I can make it for less and still have profit. This is just how it works, sadly, really sadly. Anyway, at that point, working this energy, it can't multitask, and it only sees one problem, so it can't see more. It just, this is the problem, and we're going to complain about it or talk about it consistently, not do anything about it. And the problem isn't really a problem, at least how I'm perceiving it. It is because it's not so easy that it is a problem. And if you have another idea, it's going to just stick on its way or its way, and it has to go with validating. And it really comes from a rooted confidence issue. And this way of validating or getting agreements is validation. We all do this to an extent in the external. Think about every conversation you have if you really want to break it down. We can look at, I don't watch it, but the news and politics and whatnot. And if you are on one side, you're going to only focus on things that validate that the other side is nuts or lunatics or whatever, and all their beliefs are so wrong and so far-fetched, revalidating your experience. When we complain about how bad our day is, we're looking for sympathy to validate it was that bad. Everything is validation. And when we're looking at this confidence issue, that if I would validate that, yeah, you're right, this is the only, well, okay, well, I felt good that I'm right, and there's no other way to do it. So no, everything else is unacceptable. And if you really fought it, it would, it'd be like a child. If we look at a child that wants that cookie or that candy, and it doesn't get it, it's going to throw a fit. And obviously now as adults, and we'll get into when the confidence isn't inside, we create it outside. So it's going to present itself as a tough guy or somebody very strong or masculine that don't fuck with me. I'll hurt you, kind of type of deal. But, excuse me, get my throat here. So if you were to rebuttal, it's going to try to overpower you and pitch a fit as a child would until it gets it. But it almost needs treated like a child, because how do you handle a child? You give it what it wants, it gets it, or we're going to punish it in some way to show some sort of authority. Now, when you continuously, at that point, nothing was going to ever get done. So you just do it. You just get it done, which I would do because I'm here to work. I'm not here to complain. And again, this isn't trying to sound arrogant. That's just truly my motive. I don't want to be here. I want to get it done. I want to go home. So now that looks like a form of manipulation to get an outcome. Okay, I don't want to do this, so I'm going to complain and complain and complain. Oh, they're just going to do it. But it's truly rooted in this confidence that I don't even feel confident to do my idea. So if you do it, okay, now it's done. This also looks like a form of submission, staying quiet, not rebuttaling. So now I am the leader. It's building this form of confidence, this projection outwards to validate that, oh no, I'm not the problem, or I don't have a problem. We already talked about that, reasoning to validation. And then we get into consistent validation needed. That their struggle is real. I already mentioned that. Well, we'll leave that. We got into, now at this time, I didn't see this as a problem. I was still stuck on in the beginning that there was a projection that made me in this judgy feeling and was pulling on my sacral. I didn't put two and two together that this was an issue until the days went later, and because I don't want to blame, I don't want to assume. My word of the day today was assume. I really do want to take ownership of what's going on. And I advise that for everyone, because otherwise we're just going to blame everything around us. We're never going to take accountability for ourselves. So I was still in this process of, I don't want to assume that this person is this, is this a wound that I don't have? But I haven't seen this for so long that it was quite confusing. It's, why would I feel? I don't care. I know my worth. I don't care about any of this. What's taking place. So I wasn't at a place of ownership, but I was still open to it. I was still open to the idea that, waiting for a further confirmation rather than assuming, because I don't want to make that mistake. I don't want to project that, and I don't want to become what is taking place on me. But then we got into like one upping, and this goes back to what I thought the projection in the very beginning was coming from. This will all make a little bit more sense in the end. I know we're all over the place here, but acting out. So this could also be the projection. So I call this like fishing, a big pond, and we're casting a line here, nothing, here, nothing. You're just going to keep throwing these things to try to get a reaction, an emotional response. And when you give them nothing, you can seriously watch how far-fetched the comments or the questions go, that they're trying to get anything out of you, any type of emotional response, and it is, what can I say that is unbearable for this other individual not to respond. And it gets to a point that, okay, I got something. They had a comment. I have an in now. And they're probably going to stick with that and press it. If you did have an outburst, of course, then this almost like love bombing, it's hard to say it in the workplace, but when we get farther into these energies, it's a lot easier to see it in the workplace. If we look at a family unit or a relationship, romantic, we're bonded there in a way of love, or we're living with that person where these tactics, and when they come back on us, we're trying to make it work already. So if there is any type of manipulation or gaslighting taking place, it's more difficult to hear or see, because we're here for love. We're here for this connection. Work, I mean, I don't carry any connection there. I'm there for a paycheck. I'm not here to do anything else. We did get into the world revolves around them, and a competition I didn't know I was in. I didn't know this for a couple of days. Anyway, it kept building up. At the same time, it was building my case. I already said that it found an emotional response, and ran with it. Throughout this time, the Morgan was pushing on me or probing me, and I knew what that meant, and I was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I'll get to that here in a second. At one point, something did take place, and I was like, this is an energy, and I smelled the most foulest, stale, rotten piss, and I was in no place that you could smell that. And, that was just further confirmation that, yep, this is an energy. It's here to fuck with you. And then I still didn't want to run with that, because I want to make sure all my ducks are in a row. And I asked her, the Morgan, and I'm like, hearing a crow, and I'm like, that's impossible. I look up, right there's a crow. Anyway, what would have taken place is for me to respond. What they would really want is to lash out irrationally. And we can take this into a romantic relationship or a family unit or a friend group. What really comes to part here is that they're projecting their insecurities out, and they're inviting you to validate that I don't have these problems, you're the problem, you have all these things, to see it out there because they can't see it inside. And if I would lash out or irrationally or anything like that, I would be validating that experience, because we need constant validation. There's no confidence in the individual. And by me validating it, it proves their point. It proves this hypothesis that they have, that they are not that you are, in essence. And I wasn't going to lash out irrationally. What I would have done is say it how it is. And of course I wanted to, but I knew the person wouldn't comprehend it, because it wouldn't have been small talk. It wouldn't have been emotionally charged in a way that was just, I'm upset. It would have been telling them that pretty much everything I'm saying here is like, you got absolutely no fucking confidence. You need constant validation because you can't find it within yourself. And, really going into that stuff, it would have destroyed them. And it would have been handled pretty aggressively, because it was just get out of my space. So when we go back to the projections and these energies being sent, it's looking for a response. At the same time, I know that my energy when I was there was being presented for him to see it, or that energy to see it for itself. Do I qualify it him? To an extent, but I also know it was an energy that was jumping around, because on the last day when I would have left, it was 5 instances where random drivers, like, it was crazy. You could see it in their eyes. Like, I'm just driving by and they're at a stop sign and they're like revving their truck trying to pull out, and it happened like 5 different times, like trying to one up, trying to get one step ahead. And I was like, this is insane. Like, these confirmations of it's still jumping around. And when we look at the energy, these energies, so sure, it could be a sign to us to propel us, help us move forward. It could be to slow us down, to drag us down, and it can be people, face to face, random people in public, or people from afar that, right here. Let's just look at it. Wonder how many of these people, my subscribers, thank you, but how many of them are haters or enemies, and they're just here to watch, love you. But in reality, it's this stewing of negativity within them, or confidence, or these limiting beliefs that, I don't want you one step ahead of me. I want you down here. And if I can send anything, these projections that are in them, to us, to me, to drag me down that notch, to affect, I did right here, all of our selves, self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, all these things, any type of lack experience, to drag us down a notch, to stop being up here and to come back down here where we are in the suck. And where was I going with this? Hold on. Yeah, anything to be a step above you. Yeah, we'll leave it there. We'll keep going. So we've all dealt with these selves, a lack of one of them. We'll just go with self-confidence. We've all dealt with it to an extent. I don't know how to do that. How do I have the confidence to do that? It's a natural experience. And when we get things to reinforce that, it's going to make it more real. So when it's, say we're in that wound and we can't make it inside, we have to make it outside. And I'm sure we've all seen people in these positions that obviously we can do it through projections. We can do it through talking. Like, I'm going to talk myself up, look at me, to people. And then they're going to validate that, be like, oh, wow, you did that. Wow, you're so smart, or you're so great, or, whatever. We can also do it with flash, like materialism. We'll surround ourselves with all this to look together or proper, like we have it all and I'm rich, or, whatever. We can also take ownership of things. And copying, that was the other thing, which we kind of said with creativity. If we don't have that spark, we don't have that creativity, well, what are we going to do? Like, we don't have it. We can watch everybody else and replicate that, or we can steal things, ideas, inventions, and recreate it to make profit or to create this facade. It is a mask. This whole external, we are using it to prop us up, and when those things are taken away, we crumble, because there's nothing inside to support us. Made that notion before about having a foundation. Foundation is only built inside, and when a storm comes through, the foundation isn't seen. Everything in the external is seen. Sure, it might strip off the siding of the house and break some windows, but the house is still standing. If everything's built in the external, this mask to support our confidence or whatever it may be, it'll crumble when we don't have that validation. You need that consistent validation. This individual, a lot of interaction to validate whatever experience they're having. And we could look at, let's just say, like a bad boy, real puts off a real tough image externally, and don't fuck with me, I'll hurt you, or I can yell the loudest type of thing. When, not saying they're all like this, but that's putting this facade, this mask on the outside, when inside it's very low confidence level. And it's no different than, like I said, with the material or anything, to build up this mask or facade that I am what I'm presenting, but I'm not. It's not inside. There's nothing inside. So when we look at this of, is this mine? Is this theirs? Is this a projection from someone else? So in the very beginning, I was having all these like judgy thoughts and despised of others. Excuse me. I'm thinking to myself, this isn't me. This isn't normal me. When we go into a place of public like a grocery store, and if this isn't our normal feelings, I mean, if it is, then we are projecting that out. It's easier to explain it when someone else is doing it, because no one wants to take ownership for their own behavior. So I go into the grocery store and I'm judging everyone. I'm like, ugh, look at that person. Look how they're dressing, blah, blah, blah. Naturally you're like, well, that's me. I have a problem with everyone. But if I normally don't do that, that's actually their projection, and I'm consuming it, if you will. I'm feeling it. So, in essence, by me judging back, it is that whole mirror. The person is mirroring back to you your own insecurities or your feelings. Now, I don't like to pick up other people's energies. It happens. And when we look at how these happen, well, obviously, we'd have to be a lower vibration to allow those kind of things in. So look into your life and say, okay, where am I at the most peace and things are taking place? So is your home safe and sealed and you feel comfortable there? No stress. Okay, check that off the mark. On the weekend, you're going out to public. You're not stressed about anything. You're just going shopping. Nope, nothing can come in there. Where's our next option? Work. Okay, you don't want to be there. Bosses are annoying, poor management, etc., etc., and you have to do shitty work. Okay, that's pretty low vibration. Can they get into you? No, you've got your wall up, your aura is tight, everything's protected. They can't get into you. How else are they going to get to you? Well, we're going to use another vessel, and if that doesn't work, then we're going to put an energy into that vessel. And when that vessel is at a lower vibration, the energies can enter and, shapeshift, body jump, all those kind of things. So like my drive home and seeing those random people trying to one up, the energies just jumping from lower vibration to lower vibration vessels. And at least that's how my experience goes. And once you know the energy, you know it. So you can see, oh, here it is again, here it is again, here it is again. And it's trying to get at our what do I call them? Our selves, our self-esteem, self-image, confidence, worth. And I didn't think about it, but it came to me, self-care. Anything to neglect us, think less than us in any way. So if we're in a good place that we're doing all these on our own and we're not using the external to create them, it's a pretty strong foundation if you think about it. Because no matter what happens on the external, it's not going to shake it. It's not going to knock it down. But when we build all those selves up on the external, anytime they're removed, lost, or neglected, we have nothing then. So that's where it really comes down into the foundation. And of course, these are some big things, and they were all hurt from the external. So why build them in the external if they were hurt or broken in the external? Build them inside, which is difficult to navigate, especially if we're experiencing a lot of these projections and we're taking ownership of it. We're identifying with these things that aren't even ours. I really wondered, through most of my life, because I wasn't aware of any of this, how much shit I actually took ownership for. It wasn't even mine. It was all projected onto me. And of course, if we have people that, love us or close to us that are envious or jealous or despise or disgusted or whatever, that wear a mask and present that they're loving in all this, when really they're projecting all these things onto us to keep us down, to not allow us to shine, however that may look. They're happy because they're that one step ahead, and we think we're a really lame person and whatever. We're not worth anything. We have no confidence in all these things, when really it was just projected onto us, and we took ownership of it because we let it in. So granted, everything is a wound. All these things are out of a wound. We all have these wounds, and if you really think about it, spread out, big picture, and you look at everyone. Now, granted, everyone would have to be on the same page for this to work, but if we actually interacted with everyone, knowing that they're coming from a wound, it'd be a lot different. We'd be able to see things differently. We wouldn't take things as personal. Not saying what's done is right. I'm just saying that it's all a wound. And that wound goes back to probably 4 key words. What do we got? Control. Then it goes to safety, then fear, and love. And I don't mean love like mushy mushy, kissy kissy. It's a love that probably a lot of us haven't experienced. Let's think of a child that was raised in a super loving experience, just wonderful family unit, happy, everything was very cheerful and things, and it was almost a sheltered life. And then they go out into the public, the real world, and they learn real quick that, going in very naive of how horrible people are, to an extent. I'm not saying everyone's horrible, but they would have experiences that would validate that. When we, that would create a wound, and when it's getting out of this naivety place that people don't wear masks, because a lot do. And it's not knocking it. It's just a shame that I don't know if they don't want to look at it, or they don't know how to look at it, or maybe they want to and they don't know how to build it. That we have to seek so much external validation to support this versus doing it internally. And the whole point to build it is to exist in the external. So it's very easy to jump and grasp back to the external when you're trying to do these self-works, I guess. Yeah, I already kind of mentioned this. When these energies are coming in, we have to be open to say, is this me? Is this my wound? Is this triggering my wound? Take accountability for it. I really try to. Every time it comes through, I'm over processing, and I don't trust it the first time because I want to make sure I'm right. Is this mine, or is this something else? Is it trying to help me? Even if it's a negative experience, it's probably trying to help us in some way. But if someone's projecting like a hater, they want you in lack of any type, anything, even things that just to disrupt your day, to bring you down a notch, to a frustration. It is our choice how to handle that, how to feel about it. But it's very clear once you start to pay attention. I'm sorry, I gotta take a drink of water. Sorry. So anyway, it is very clear once we see it for what it is, and we start to analyze these things to say, okay, is this my wound? If it is, what do I need to address on? Okay, there it is. I see it. All right, it is me. That's okay. I'm going to move on. If it's a projection from someone, face to face or energetically, we're going to see about how we're blowing up, or glowing in our life. So it gets into, like, say we have these great ideas and these plans and these goals, and we're really excited about it, and we want to share it with people that are close to us, and they don't want that for us. And by sharing these things, their projections, their self-limiting beliefs, their self-confidence, and or selfishness of, an outcome or something will be projected onto us. And then all of a sudden, I'm feeling like I don't want to do this anymore. I don't believe in myself. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I'm scared. Well, for the past week, I didn't feel this at all. And now I told these people, and now all of a sudden I feel this way. This is how this works. Keep an eye on it. It sucks. We're excited. We want to share all these things, and not in like, look at me. It's like, I'm excited. I want to talk about these things, but I can't because look what happened. And that's an experience that I've learned the hard way, you know? So we start to put all these puzzle pieces together. It is a lot of processing, it is, but you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself, and you learn that, hey, this isn't even mine. I'm picking this stuff up and it's affecting me. Let's see here. I already mentioned about, when these things come in, what's taking us to a lower vibration, a space that we probably don't want to be in or we're uncomfortable in. Also, our own personal thoughts that, or maybe something tragic happened in our life that brought us down a notch. And that's when, of course, these things can come in if we're built up strong enough already that our foundation, that really nothing can touch us. And I'll probably leave it there. Protection, do your protection, do your return to senders. Granted, you'll know, like I said, the more you pay attention to it, the more you'll know if it is something else or it's yours. And you can wish ill will. You can do whatever you want. I try not to. I just want to be left alone. I mean, that's as simple as it is. The funny thing is what someone wishes upon someone else, if it is returned to sender and then they start to experience it and it's very detrimental, they'll be on their knees praying to God, saying, please God, I promise I'll never do this again. And it takes it away, and then right back to the same shit. When you actually experience devastating lack or loss, and you're seeing it and you're evolved enough, you will say, I would never wish this on any of my enemies. And when these things are returned to someone that was wishing this ill will upon someone and they're experiencing it, it has to be as detrimental to get to the point to say, I'll never wish this on my enemy again. That idea of, oh, I didn't mean it. Oh, this is like bullshit. Like, what do you think? You clearly don't think. And sometimes these energies, like if they attach, I mean, they'll just feed this individual so much in the head that they're believing these projections that they're putting out, that you or me, is this horrible thing, and they keep feeding it and finding ways to reinforce it. And I mean, eventually it just consumes itself. It's keeps bringing me back to that Constantine movie. Like, there's negative stuff out there, but it's not, we have to have the duality. We have to. We wouldn't know what good feels like if we didn't experience bad. We wouldn't know what bad is if we didn't have good, or however I just said it. It's we wouldn't know. And it does suck. Life sucks at times, but we wouldn't know. We really wouldn't. So I'll leave it there, guys. Wish you all the best. Take care.